For this episode, we hopped on a call with children's author Allan Johnson to talk about his recent success in finding an audience. We also talk a bit about his influences and inspirations, and we even get to hear some amazing Canadian music. So sit back, grab a glass of milk, and enjoy the ride. I'm your host, Kalen, and this is the Pagan Place Podcast. How you making out?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. How's life been?
Oh, it's been very good. You know, the kids are quite the handful, but it's been a lot of fun. Grayson just had his first show and tell where he got to lead the class for the day, and he did really good. He was telling the teachers about the Parasaurolopolis and Tyrannosaurus Rex and everything they ate and everything they did.
Wow.
Teachers are just like, he's really impressive.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's been great. It's kind of how this whole thing really started for us. Is we just started reading to them pretty much right from the womb and continued on. And a couple hundred books in, we kind of started to realize that we have a little something here, because I'd be rewriting books that we were reading, or if we had books that were just number books, for example, I'd write little rhyming couplets to go with each page, and the kids really took to that, and we kind of just decided maybe we could figure out something that we could write for ourselves, and it's kind of how we came up with the idea for the start off with anyway. Well, to be honest, it really wasn't even supposed to be anything more than just some gifts for Melissa, my wife, and the kids. It's basically the first book I wrote, Princess Melly and the Garden of Kindness, was just that. It was just a love letter to my wife, written as a children's story for my kids. And the reception that we got, we sent it to a few family and friends. We shared it on Facebook, of course, but one friend shared it with another friend, and so on and so forth. And we got messages back from little girls who were reading our books and all these pictures and things like that. And it was just absolutely, overwhelming, the response that we got. And next thing you know, we've had sales across the United States and Nigeria. We just had a sale in the UK there this week. Just all over Canada. It's just been wonderful.
So was Princess Melly first that you had written, or is it the first that you put out?
It was the first book, and it's very much inspired by not just my wife, who would be the Princess Melly in the story, but it's our dogs. It's my little Rosie Chihuahua is one of the characters in the story, and Gunna, which was her dog that passed away, which is very special dog to her. He's one of the dogs in the story, and I consider myself to be the boy in the story. So it's very much about us, but it's a fictional telling of how we would have met, in this universe that it is.
Let's go right back to the starting point of you just kind of writing things. What type of things were you writing?
We had one thing that really stuck was we had a Maud Lewis book that we would look at with the kids, and the kids really enjoyed the pictures, but it was essentially just a picture. Each picture was one of Maud Lewis's paintings, and it was just a number. It was like 5 children playing, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Or three kittens, and then for each page I just basically made up a rhyme that coincided with every page, and the numbers on the page, and the kids just fell in love with that. And just other things, like we were writing stories or reading stories rather, and something just didn't kind of flow right or sound right, and I'm like, well, it should be like this. And then every time I'd read it, I'd have that line memorized that I changed, and I just do it that way, kind of thing. And it just, mainly because it resonated with the kids. The kids really took to it. And I find that sometimes a lot of stories that we'll read to them, I feel like they could like them, but the way that they're written is just in a way that just doesn't kind of grasp them, or it doesn't flow, or it doesn't hit them naturally. So we're kind of just trying to make some of those stories feel a little bit more natural to the ear, and they ended up liking them more. So it's kind of how I approach my style of writing, to be very accessible and not convoluted or making anybody kind of look back and reread it just to understand what they were just saying, kind of thing.
Right. So Princess Melly, like you said, everybody kind of correlates to somebody in your life. It was written as a love letter. Where along the lines did you decide to be like, hey, I actually kind of want to publish this?
Well, after I finished writing it, I started playing around with doing some illustrations, and at first I was really having a hard time with it. So I spent a few months just trying to figure out how to use the software and make it work to do what I wanted. And once we started getting images that really coincided with what the story was and really added to what we were trying to do, I kind of thought, well, I would like this to be something more than just like a picture on my phone and me reading it from, some text I printed out or something like that, or printed out pictures and stapled them all together. So I started looking into ways of getting it published as, again, just for something physical for my kids to hold, for my kids to look at, for my wife to have as a keepsake. And I started looking into different options to doing that. And there's a lot of self-publishing companies out there, but the common theme between every single one of them, for the most part, I mean, I'm sure there's the odd exception out there, is that, pay us X amount of dollars. And in a lot of cases, it's a lot of money. I've seen as high as $7,000 to publish a book, and as low as, $1,000 or $1,200, but that's still a lot of money for, in average, a self-published indie author will maybe sell 100 copies of their book in an entire lifetime of the book. So, I mean, depending on how much you're charging for that book, you may never make back that $7,000 or $1,200. So I kept looking for other ways of doing it. And of course, you can go to like a Staples or places like that, and you can do those binder version books. And it just didn't seem like something I'd want my kids to have. Like, I mean, maybe if they were a little bit older, but even with my books, I'm trying to aim them towards an audience that's in, 3, 4, 5, 6, that kind of range. And, little kids have grabby hands and things can get ripped and torn. As if it's in some of that binder print, then that's another thing that's just going to get ripped very easily. So I kept looking, and then I came across the KDP, the Kindle Direct Publishing, through Amazon. And what's great about that is you publish your book, they do take a 30% from that, but they handle all the shipping, they take care of all the printing and everything like that, and there is no cost to me. So this was an option. I thought, well, here, we don't have to put a lot of money in, or any at all if we want, and at least then my kids can have the book. What happened next, as I said, is what changed everything after that, because we then had to start investing into this, because all of a sudden a book for my family and friends became what I said is a book that's now selling across the world. And in little quantities, but it's still something that we're quite proud of, because we never thought we'd reach outside of St. John or Hampton, let alone reach Nigeria.
That's pretty crazy.
It really is, and it's heartwarming. There's a little girl somewhere in Nigeria who reads my book and listens to an audio recording that I made before she goes to bed, and it just blows my mind.
So a little about the publishing experience. Now, I don't want this to be advertised for Amazon, but this is just so it's your experience with them.
Absolutely.
It seems pretty easy, because I remember when you and I were talking about it.
I would say it is very easy, and it's very accessible. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've run into issue after issue, trying to figure out how to format this or how to do that and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if you take the time, it's very easy to figure it out on your own. There's lots of tutorial videos out there, or you can, Google things, and it comes together pretty quickly. Essentially, you would take your illustrations and your text, and depending on how, and you compile them together with like an Adobe program, and then you just upload it to KDP, and then they have their own cover crate that you can use for free, and you can design your covers on there, or you can make your own cover separately. It just depends on how tech savvy you are. So there's ways to make it, as personalized as you want, and there are ways for them to help guide you through the process as well.
That's pretty interesting.
It is interesting, and it's a good way to get your foot out there. Like, I mean, this isn't how we want to do it forever. The ultimate goal for us is to get signed by one of the big 5 publishing houses, and hopefully have somebody do all that little legwork for us. But as far as being an independent author and getting our works out there and getting your reps in, as they say. I think this is a really good way to go. And it maintains that control in your hands too. Like there's nobody at Kindle or Amazon that are saying, okay, well, this Princess Melly, I think she should be a blonde or a redhead or, whatever. There is nobody changing anything, and there's nobody filtering out my ideas or anything like that. So what you get as a finished product is 100% what I put down on the paper too. And sometimes you don't get that signing with a publishing house or having a literary agent or anything like that.
Right. So I remember when we were talking about this a little bit, obviously before you had published it, where to publish it. And we were both kind of looking for publishers. And one thing I found really odd, and maybe it's not because I don't know the industry. Maybe this is totally normal if you get how the industry works, but that we had a hard time finding somebody who would take a children's book.
Yeah,
and I think there was
definitely seems to be a bit more difficult. Even getting a literary agent, which is probably the next step for us, is once we get a few more reps in, we have proof of sales, proof of audience, and that kind of thing. We're going to be approaching agents. And I find it is very difficult to even find agents that represent children's authors, let alone publishing houses. And I think it's more of a gamble, maybe. Everybody wants to read the next Da Vinci Code or whatever, but, a children's book may be the next, Goodnight Moon, or it may be just something you find at the dollar store. There seems to be a lot of children's books out there, and I think it's more of a gamble that way, if that makes any sense. Like it's so saturated that the people who are in it are the ones that are in it, and everybody else is kind of staying away from it. I'm not sure. I'm obviously just guessing here, but it seems that way anyway.
I mean, that makes sense.
Sometimes I feel like I want to be someone else. Then I remember it's better to be myself. I'm tired of this push and shove, treading water for too long. See the sky above, it's calling me to take a chance and just be me. Don't worry about how to be yourself. I know it can be confusing. Pay attention to what's calling you. You've got nothing to prove. Just be you. Sometimes it's easy to get lost in the crowd, especially when you feel like your voice is getting drowned out. That voice you hear inside your ear doesn't always tell the truth. Sometimes it's your fear. You have to choose. You have to choose to take a chance and just be you. Don't worry about how to be yourself. I know it can be confusing. Pay attention to what's calling you. You've got nothing to prove. Just be you. But what if they don't like me? What if I'm left out? I'll fight the fear inside me and let my true self show. Don't worry about them finding out what's inside of you. Just let it out. There's a spark in you. You've got to be true. You've got nothing to lose. Just be you. Don't worry about how to be yourself. I know it can be confusing. Pay attention to what's calling you. You've got nothing to prove. Just be you. Just be you. Just be you. Just be you.
What are some obstacles that either feel you're up against or you're going to be up against? You kind of mentioned you once you get some reps in, you want to kind of try and push a little bit harder and get a little bit bigger. What do you think is in your way of Maybe not in your way, but something you're going to have to overcome.
The thing we're really working on overcoming is just getting the book out there. I find right now our primary way of marketing is through social media, and no matter what it is, everybody's being bombarded with something on social media. Somebody's friend is selling this, or somebody's got a cat for sale, or somebody's selling used furniture or a truck or something like that. So really trying to break through and get people to see it is going to be a bit more of a challenge. Now, we're doing absolutely fantastic. We have over 6,300 followers on Facebook already in 11 weeks, and that's absolutely amazing. But not everybody has, a small child. A lot of people have kids, and a lot of people are very interested in our books. I was just at the Belden Hill Christmas market there. We did absolutely phenomenal. But we had a lot of customers who came up, and they loved what we were doing. They loved the pictures, but their kids were just a little bit older. And my books are really geared towards a younger audience. So it's trying to reach that niche part of the audience that we're going for. It's easy to get a lot of people interested, and people are interested. And I have so many people coming up to me and saying, I'm trying to find somebody that like, even at the market, I had a lady come up to me. I talked to her for a couple of minutes, explained what we were doing, how we wrote the books, and she looked at everything and she's like, I absolutely love this. I just don't have any grandchildren. And then 20 minutes, half hour later, she came back. She's like, I found somebody for you. And she literally like brought somebody to my booth to buy a book. But that seems to be the challenge, is that everybody has kids, but not everybody has kids in that right market, and is trying to reach those people who, at a lot of times when your kids are at that young age, you're a pretty tired parent and you have a lot of other things going on. So slowly but surely we are reaching them, and we're getting the word out there. But it's a saturated market. So not only reaching those people, but having them look directly at the content that we're producing, because I think what we have stands out far and above anything that you could find at a dollar store, and half the stuff you could find at Chapters. And that's not bravado, and it's not being braggadocious or anything. I just truly believe that we've been supporting a lot of local authors ourselves and buying a lot of books, and they all have their great parts to them, and they're all wonderful in their own ways. But I think we really have something that stands out, and alone from that, it's just trying to get it out there with limited resources. And we're not rich people or anything. We don't have a publishing house behind us, so it's getting it out there in our own little ways is definitely going to be the challenge. But I think day by day we get a little bit more followers, we get a little bit more people, and I think we're eventually going to succeed in just breaking through. I mean, the support we get in Hampton, I've gone to stores and people have stopped me, people have stopped my wife to say, we love what your husband's doing, congratulations. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but the fact that it happens at all is absolutely amazing. So yeah, we're definitely getting the word out there, and people are very supportive. It's just going to be reaching that niche part of the audience that we need to get to, but one by one, we're definitely doing it.
Right. Now, you mentioned that, and this isn't something I'd thought of, although maybe I should have, the age range of the readers. Like, obviously, yes, your books are directed towards a particular age range because that's where your kids are at. Mm-hmm. Do you think that now that you've kind of had a few conversations about people saying, oh, it's just not in the age range of my kid, would you try something for an older? Do you think you'll end up there naturally?
I absolutely don't stop writing, Kaylin. Right now, we have our 3 books that are out right now. I've just finished writing another book about my son Miles and his temper tantrums. That's being illustrated right now. I've also wrote a book about my son that I just finished writing, Grayson, which is about him and also about the planets in our universe and little facts that are accessible to younger audiences about that. We wrote a Halloween story that we're in the process of illustrating. And after all those are now done, because of the feedback that I got at the Belden Hill Farms Christmas market and from around, I'm actually writing a story more in the tone or age range of, like, let's say Peter Rabbit or something like that. Something that would appeal to a younger audience, but it's still going to appeal to, your 9, 10, and 12-year-old sort of thing. I'm calling that one Mr. Buttons, and it'll be about a hamster who lives on a farm and it's going to survive what's going to happen when the farmer has a little farmer's market for the first time.
Huh. Interesting. That sounds fun.
So yeah, there's a lot of things in the works. On top of that, we're trying to, like I said, reach out to a broader audience as well, but we're going to keep focused on the younger kids' books because it's a fun little niche. I do enjoy these books, and they're such sponges at that age. I find the earlier you can get them into reading and enjoy reading, the more they can pick up. And
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
the success we've had with our kids at just starting off in school and the feedback we've gotten, I think really holds true that all this reading we've been doing for them has really paid off. And I'm actually going to Grayson School on Wednesday to do a reading of my Christmas book.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like as your boys get older, though, that maybe your writing pocket will change?
That's a good question.
Maybe it's too early to ask. I don't know.
I'm definitely writing books with them in mind right now. Obviously, I've got 2 books coming out that are basically, somewhat inspired by them, just as the first couple books were inspired by my wife. So I definitely do think that would be something on the horizon, because I do want to keep writing stories that they can enjoy as well.
Right.
I know there's going to be a part. I had a lady come up to me at the market, and she said, asked me what the age range was. And she said, well, their kids are in the early teens. She's like, you don't write any manga, do you? I just laugh. But that's the thing, right? As they get to be an older age, that's, going to be what they're going to start to gear towards. So I think I would enjoy writing some YA novels or something coming forward in the future. But I feel like I have a lot of reps, as I said, to put in before I feel confident in writing something of that scale.
That's fair. And I mean, if you're writing for your kids, it might come more naturally as they get older as well.
It's true. Yeah, it definitely could. And I feel like I've been inspired by the readings that I've done of their books partially as well, not just them or not just to be a writer or anything like that, but the books that they read. I've really enjoyed lots of stories. There's books I've picked up and like, oh, I really, this inspires me to write something different, but just because it's something I've enjoyed so much. Like I could read Good Night Moon like another 100 times and still enjoy it. Like it's simple, but it's something that really sticks to you, and it's got beautiful illustrations. So it's something I really would like to achieve.
Yeah, no, that's true. There are definitely some books. I mean, I used to read to Maeve all the time. I was read to a lot as a kid, so it kind of just instilled that in me. But there were definitely standouts that, although they were also Maeve's favorites, like there were ones that, yeah, sure, no problem. I don't mind reading that another 100 times. Like Good Night Moon,
your Robert Munches and your Beatrix Potter and things like that, or your Jan and Stan Bernstein. Like those are stories and characters that we'll always remember. And if I can create anything that in 20 years some little kid or some adult, I guess at that point, looks back and says, oh, remember when I used to read such and such? Those were such great books, and I want to read those to my kids. And having something like that would absolutely just mean the world to us.
Oh, absolutely. And there's some, like as Maeve got older, that I read in school and I remembered reading. Pointedly. There were probably not 8 or 9. And I found something to do with worms. Can't remember.
That sounds
deep fried
like
worms,
anything to do with worms.
Fresh fried worms or something. But the whole story is about kids, and there's this challenge to eat some worms involved. And it was one that I read in like elementary, and it blew my mind when I found a copy of it, like a recent print of it. Oh, yeah. So I got it, and then also Maeve loved it. Another was Goblins in the Castle, kind of that same age range. Mm-hmm. A little more adventurous.
Melissa came across a book, and somebody donated some books to us that she had read when she was a little girl. And I read it to her, and it was just like, being a kid again, and just such enjoyment out of it. So something like that would just be amazing.
Yeah, it's cool that.
I remember actually, it's funny because as I've been doing this, I have all these memories that I've kind of just forgot about of growing up and stuff, and not just writing, because I forgot about how many things I've written growing up, but just like when I was in the 2nd grade, Robert Munch came to our school and read to us, like, and I as soon as I remember that, it was just like a vivid like wave that came over me. I was like, wow, I remember that being really impactful, and thinking about that for years afterwards. And it's, I'm just remembering it now, but like I remember being a kid, and that was like a big deal.
Yeah, it would be. It's cool to have those kind of core memories, and it's kind of cool that you want to help impart that on other people too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, literary memories are kind of fun. There's a lot of key books I remember as a kid that it's cool are still around.
Oh, absolutely. It's fun going back and reading things, or even looking like before we when we found out we were having kids, we went out and bought. Now it's not necessarily a reading book, but it was something that I remember vividly from my childhood. So me and Melissa went out and bought a like collection of Where's Waldo.
Oh
We're
yeah,
like, these are going to be fun to play with our kids in like 3 or 4 years.
absolutely, absolutely, they will.
Right? Like, but like we had such attached memories to that as in our childhood. We're like, well, we want to do that for our kids too, right? Like we had so much fun doing that.
Yeah, those were really good ones. I remember sitting in the summer camp on rainy days, and like my friend had a camp right next to ours, so we'd hang out at one of the others, and he had a bunch of Where's Waldo's books, and that sometimes would be the afternoon. Whip out the Nintendo and flick through Where's Waldo.
Oh, absolutely. I would spend so much time in elementary school, like other kids would be out playing at lunch, and I would go to the library and I'd read a lot of those find your own adventure books.
Oh yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's like turn to page 10 to see where the pumpkin is or something like that. And those were awesome. I absolutely love, like I would spend entire lunch hours reading about wherever it was and do the stories 3 or 4 times just to figure out where all the other options took you. And that was a lot of fun.
I met a giant jackrabbit with jackrabbit habits, and we hopped around together inside my house. We hopped around the chairs, up and down the stairs, till I was all jack tired and tuckered out. Well, I'm a little jackrabbit with jackrabbit habits, hopping up and down inside my house. I'm hopping to the left, I'm hopping to the right, I'm all jack tired, tuckered out. He came up from the river, my jackrabbit skipper, so we hopped around together inside my house. We hopped around the chairs, up and down the stairs, till we were all jack tired and tuckered out. We are all jackrabbits with jackrabbit habits. We are hopping up and down inside my house. We're hopping to the left, we're hopping to the right, until we're all jack tired and tuckered out. By morning, so keep all the doors open inside your house. Oh, he was dancing through the night, stopped by the kitchen for a bite. Now he's off to the neighbors on the right. Well, we are all jackrabbits with jackrabbit habits. We are hopping up and down inside my house. We're hopping to the left and we're hopping to the right, until we're all jack tired, tuckered out. Oh yeah, we're all jack tired, tuckered out. Oh yeah, we're all jack tired, tuckered out.
You're currently listening to the Pagan Place podcast. If you like what you hear, you can find us at paganplacemusic.podbean.com or wherever you stream your podcasts, except for Spotify.
You've got 3 published now.
Yes.
Let's just kind of go through the first book. Like, I know I already talked about it, but give us a little the inspiration for your first book.
Yeah. Well, the wife and I were talking, and like I said, I had been writing all those different stories or rewriting some and adding narrative to books without it, and we were just like, we'd love to write something. And she'd always talked about her dog Gunna that she absolutely loved, and it was very important to her. And I wanted to write something along that included Gunna in a story. And then as I started going, I added my other dog Rosie, and I want it to be a story that just not just said how much I love my wife or anything like that, but just the reason why I love my wife, and that's the whole garden of kindness aspect of the book. You know, I've never met somebody so kind, caring, compassionate, and just such a love and respect for animals and everything for that matter. So that's kind of how it kind of got started. And as I started writing, the story just took a shape of its own. And I had to rewrite it a few times because it was initially going to be a short board book, was my first vision of the book. But turns out to publish a board book, it's incredibly expensive.
Like those small, hard to destroy cardboard books?
Exactly.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you were signed to some publishing company who had their own printing house, you know, it's a whole different story. But to get one self-published, we looked into it and we were quoted as high as $26 a book.
Wow.
Which means like we didn't want to sell many of them. Like that wasn't the purpose, but you know, at the same time, we thought a few family and friends would enjoy it. So we didn't want to have something that we had to charge $35 for a 15-page book or 20-page book or whatever. So
right, yeah.
At that point, I decided I looked into my options again with the Kindle and found out what, you know, I needed it to be. So I sat down and over a few weeks, I rewrote the story. Well, didn't really rewrite the story because the story was always the same foundation. I just gave it more depth essentially and extended out some of the narrative so that it kind of fit with what I was going for then. And that's kind of how it turned into the book it ended up being.
And what about Melly Melly Applebottom?
Melly Melly Applebottom was actually, this is what I would tell any writer who is having trouble and is running into a roadblock or having some writer's block. Melly Melly Applebottom came because I was having some writer's block extending the story. And I looked at my wife and I was like, Melly Melly Applebottom, just as a silly joke. And I was like, wait a minute. And that's how a lot of my writing will come. Somebody will say a name of a story or give me like Melissa was talked about her hamster, Mr. Buttons, the other day. And I was like, immediately texted her Mr. Buttons. She's like, why did you text me that? I'm like, because there's a story there. And that was the same thing that happened. I jokingly said Melly Melly Applebottom, and all of a sudden I'm like, there's a story there. And I sat down and I started writing this little rhyme that turned into what it is. And it's really, if you look at the book, you just see this old farmer's lady with a very large bottom. And it kind of looks like it's a baking book, but really it's a story about perseverance. You know, she keeps falling down, she keeps making mistakes, but she keeps trying. And then the compassion that's shown to her from her husband, who basically says, you know, no matter what you make, I'm always going to try your treats and I'm always going to love you. And no matter how bad your day is, I'm always going to be there for you. And it's that kind of compassion and perseverance that I really want to make a story about, which also encompasses us as a family and how we kind of go about things. We always kind of try again. You know, the kids drop something or make a mistake, you just try again, and we'll fix it and we'll figure it out. And after it got finished, I realized that in my own head, so I guess since I'm the author, that it's kind of canon. But I decided that Melly Melly Applebottom is actually just Princess Melly, old, retired from her castle life and living on a farm with the boy that she meets in her first story.
Nice. And you've also just released a Christmas book as well.
Yes, Ricky the Smallest Snowman, which, boy, just flew off the shelves at Beldingfield Farms.
Oh, yeah,
we sold 40 copies in 2 days,
wow,
which is just absolutely phenomenal. The statistics on a self-published book are basically 100 copies, if you're lucky, are sold within the lifetime of that book. And we sold 40 copies in 2 days, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And for that, honestly, I remember so many Christmas stories as a kid. The Frosty the Snowman we watched on the TV, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, all those little classic cartoons that we watched as kids from like the 60s and 70s and 80s. And they always stuck with me. Year after, even last year at Christmas, Melissa and I watched the Frosty the Snowman with our kids. And I mean, they weren't as into it as we were, but you know, it still stuck with us for that long. And I really wanted to create something like that. And it was just one of those things. I was thinking, oh man, Snowman, I really like Frosty. That was such a good, you know, a book and a cartoon that really stayed with me as a kid. And you know, I want something to do with the snowman. I'm like, well, what if he was the shortest snowman? It just kind of turned into that. And it's the same as, kindness is a theme of my first book and perseverance is the theme of the second book. It's just a theme about, not everybody is created equally, but everybody has something special about them. And Ricky has his own special gifts, and they will allow him to save Christmas in his own special way.
Very cute. It's funny you mentioned the old claymation
Yes.
shows that we watched, obviously on reruns that were from the 50s and the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
A girl who I work with, she's from India, so she didn't grow up with any of those.
Oh,
so we were talking about it the other day, and I was, for whatever reason, someone made a noise, and I was like, man, that sounded like the Yeti in that Christmas thing growing up, or the abominable snowman. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're just talking nonsense. I was like, no, you've got to watch this. So I sent it to her, and she got a kick out of it.
Absolutely. I can still hear Frosty's voice. I feel like it was some big celebrity from like the 70s or 60s or whenever that movie was made.
I
but
think
like,
you're right.
I couldn't picture his face, but I know his voice.
Now I gotta look up who it was. I think you're right. It was a famous.
I feel like it was somebody. Like I recognize the voice, but like it doesn't matter. It's still Frosty to me.
You've never seen that person in a real movie.
Well, it's possible. You gotta remember all those Disney movies, those that used to be on when we were kids, like on the ABC channel, whatever. They used to always have those like Disney Friday nights or whatever. Maybe it was Saturday nights. I can't remember, but there was always like the Disney night, and they would have like a little movie, and there was a lot of those like
Sunday
Apple
nights,
Dumpling Gang and
absolutely
Herbie.
Oh yeah.
All these. Oh yeah, and I feel like whoever it was in a bunch of those movies back in the day, but I could be wrong.
Okay, well, let's have a little quiz here. What year do you think Frosty the Snowman came out?
I'm gonna say 1967.
Ooh, close.
Was it
1969?
1969? No, I wasn't too far off. That was pretty good.
That was pretty close. And if you were to guess who Jackie Vernon was Frosty. I just blew it.
No, I wouldn't have guessed that anyway. I was thinking somebody else.
Yeah, I was thinking
I can't
like
even tell you who.
Dick Clark or something, but I know it wasn't Dick Clark. But
no, I was thinking it's like an old cowboy kind of guy. He had that big mustache, Wilford something or other. I used to do a lot of like diabetes commercials back in like the 90s on TV.
Yeah, he had the show House like way back in the day.
Yeah, that guy. That's who I thought it was.
Yeah, but I know his name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. And honestly, I'm kind of looking through his movies here, and there's nothing I really recognize. Yeah, some sound funny.
Just one of those voices.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So all that aside, I noticed the other day you made a post about doing some of your own art.
Yeah.
Posted some fun drawings. So kind of looking at that side of thing, I know that's something you want to grow on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, the first two books were essentially, we weren't really looking for this to be a career, so to speak. It was more, like I said, the first book was just for family and friends, and the second book had been written at the same time, basically. So, I did illustrate it the same way, but we realized we wanted a more personal touch to our illustrations, so we picked up a drawing pad and get the Ibris software there, and I've been using that to do the illustrations, things like that. It's actually just as much work as doing it the other way, but it's so much more rewarding, and I find it adds such a more personal touch. And I really appreciate what we did with Ricky the Smallest Snowman, even though some people might like the illustrations better on the other ones. I find it's the personal touch just gives it everything. Like my brother-in-law sent me a text. He ordered the book. He was like one of the first people to get it, and his immediate response was like, "Man, this is awesome. It's an instant classic." And that's exactly how I feel about like that Frosty the Snowman movie. And, I hope that one day, I'm not saying I want a cartoon, but one day I hope that enough people can read that book that they'll have the same kind of feelings I do about Frosty. And I hope those illustrations are a key part of it.
So you're going to try to illustrate your own all going forward?
Yeah, everything going forward. As far as I know, everything going forward is going to be done in-house illustrations. We're all going to do it do it myself. The Miles book is pretty much completely done, so we just got to put that together. Started toying around with my Halloween book, which is called Jerry the Ghost Is Not So Scary. That is partially done, and then because the Grayson and Miles books are going to kind of come out sort of back to back the same way that Princess Melly and Melly Applebottom did, that one, we're starting the illustrations on that too. So hope to have the first one out in February, and then April, May for the Grayson one.
Sweet.
And then I'll be doing some markets and stuff like that throughout the summer. So I probably won't be doing anything else until till our Halloween book drops. We do have some big news to interlude there. Starting this week, we'll have them in the right cup in Uptown St. John.
Excellent.
So
I'm glad to hear
should be
that.
going on Tuesday to meet them, but I think it's going to be a snowstorm, so it probably will end up being Friday. So we live out in Hampton. That's quite the drive, but they'll be carrying all 3 of our books, hopefully starting Friday or Saturday, or I guess whenever they get them on the shelves, but we'll be available in St. John as well.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into where can people find your books?
Right now, you obviously can get them on Amazon. You can see our Facebook page or any links for that. But if you're looking to pick up a physical copy here in Hampton, you can get them at the Hampton Home Hardware. They're also available at the Port, or Old Foggy Distillery as it used to be known here in Hampton, as well as the Kit and Caboodle pet shop here in Hampton. And then starting this week, will also be available in the Right Cup in St. John. Now, there are some other locations coming up too. We've already spoken to Chapters, and there's a gift store in Norton that's approached us. And it's just
Sweet.
Trying to get enough books to fill the demand. As soon as I get books in, they're basically going out. I had 2 calls yesterday, both sold out of my Christmas book. As soon as I got books in, they're coming out. As soon as I sell books, I have to take that money and put it back into buying more books. And I know it's a great problem to have, but we technically haven't made very much money, even though we sold a lot of books, because we're essentially just buying more books. Now that's the good thing, is that Amazon doesn't charge me a commission or anything like that on printing the books.
That's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad at all. I'm sure there are other variables that could make our books more expensive. We're just toying with different features and stuff. There's different print quality and types and paper types and things like that. And, we're just very novice at this, and I'm trying to figure it out as I go. And, I kind of like what we have right now, and the quality of the paper is commented on many times at the fair as being really good. Like, people really, when you look at the books, it doesn't look any different than anything you'd find at any bookstore. And then, that's all I want, is I want it to look just as natural, sitting on a shelf of Chapters as any other book would.
Right. What about your online presence? You mentioned people being able to find you on Facebook stuff.
Geez. We have author page, Allan Johnson Books, on Facebook, and I try to engage with everybody, make sure I say thank you to everybody who logs in there. We do have a TikTok. I have a TikTok as well, mostly just like the little videos and shorts I do. There is a YouTube page. I have an Instagram as well. So, I'm on all of them, I guess. I'm just on all of them. I look for recommendations in the way to reach most people. And anytime I get a recommendation, I try to use that platform. But right now, I think the best way to reach us would be on Facebook, because it's where I primarily focus most of my content, and then I extend it out to the other dozen or so social medias that are out there. My friend in the UK, I was just talking to him yesterday, and he's like, "Your books are available in the UK?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, Amazon. They're available worldwide." So, even if you're not in the Hampton area or you're not in the St. John area, there's still a way to get those books. And the best way to find those links and get everything is to check out our Allan Johnson Books author page on Facebook. You can just type in Allan Johnson Books, and I'm sure it'll come right up there.
Out on the desert road, I see a big blue bear that's looking at me. Well, he claps his hands and he stomps his feet, all the while cooking in the coconut tree. Out the whistling whistle pigs, rolling rigs, and the flying cactus seeds, the tumbling tumbleweeds. Oh, my ma can never see it. I have to draw it so she believes it. desert road, I see a rockin' red raven that's a looking at me. Well, he claps his hands, stomps his feet, all the while cooking in the coconut tree. Are the whistling whistle pigs, rolling rigs, and the flying cactus seeds, tumbling tumbleweeds, and my ma can never see it. I have to draw it so she believes it. Out on the desert road, I see a pretty pink panda that's a-looking at me. Well, she claps her hands, stomps her feet, all the while cooking in the coconut tree. And the whistling whistle pigs, rolling rigs, and the flying cactus seeds, the tumbling tumbleweeds, and my ma can never see it. I have to draw it so she believes it. Out on the desert road, I see my super sneaky sister that's a-looking at me. She claps her hands, stomps her feet, all the while cooking in the coconut tree. And the whistling whistle pigs, rolling rigs, and the flying cactus seeds, tumbling tumbleweeds. Oh, and now my ma can see her, but she climbs into the tree to be sure.
We did talk a little bit about your growth, what you're projecting for, and you mentioned getting your reps in, all that in mind. Is there a bit of advice that you would give to anybody who was in your shoes 4 months ago?
Yeah, it's funny. When we first started, a Sussex Books Association reached out to us and asked me to come talk to them. And I didn't have anything to say, and I didn't want to go there and just be like, hi. Like I just wrote my first book. I found a lot of naysayers out there when it comes to specifically like writing children's books, saying, you know, a lot of people say, oh, if you're trying to make any money or anything like that, you're in the wrong business. And I just think that's not that we're trying to just make money or anything, but like if you're going to have any sort of business, you know, you have to be profitable at some point. And I think the thing that a lot of people are missing, and the best advice that I would give everybody, would be find the fairs, find the events, find the things that are going on in your town. Everybody has a Christmas fair. Everybody has a little, like, you know, summer festival, summer fair. Like, get out there and talk to people. People want to hear your story and they want to support you. But if you just sit behind a keyboard and you don't do much besides maybe share a link here and there, like, you're not going to get too far with it. And you're always going to have that negative outlook because the community is not going to be supporting you. Absolutely. Having our presence online is given us great opportunities, but then getting out there, like the first time I did a reading at my son's school, within a week we were being approached by like an actual elementary school that wants me to come in January and read to the entire elementary school. I'm going to be basically living out the thing that happened to me in the second grade with Robert Munch to a bunch of little kids in Florenceville. So, I mean, it's just getting out there and engaging with the community. If you have a book, you approach some schools, go out and see if they would like you to read. You know, you don't need to be paid. You need to get the word out there. You need to get the community behind you. And the best way of doing that is, you know, going out and reading it to the children, going out there into the libraries and trying to approach them about reading it, getting out to the markets, the fairs, and just selling your book, telling people your story, and people will generally always want to support it.
I agree. That goes for more than books as well. Like, think any art
no
form,
matter what you have.
Yeah.
If you're trying to, if you got music and you want people to hear your music, sign up to one of these little fairs and festivals. Like, people will buy your CDs. People will buy your merch. They want to support local. All you need to do if you're going to be a musical artist is have a little radio MP3 player, whatever, play a couple songs, you know, and somebody's going to buy it. And that's the best way, I think, to get the word out there, is that personal touch. We're all overloaded with social media and the internet nowadays, that when somebody takes the time to tell you about themselves in person to your face, like, it sticks a lot more, I find, than just doing it over like social media or anything like that.
I agree. For me personally, that's things that have stuck more are definitely when
absolutely.
you are physically looking at a thing and you're talking to the author or the painter or whomever.
Absolutely.
Kind of adds a little cool experience to the purchase of it too.
Just like engaging and talking and like, meeting all these little kids. And I had this one little girl come up to me and she was just the sweetest, most polite person in the world. I immediately, like, as soon as she left, turned around and looked at, I had a bunch of little surprise bags there. I'm like, I give this little girl one, because I just had it meant so much to me that she was so happy to like pick up my snowman book, and she was so cute and polite about it. I was like, I got to reward this because it was an experience for me too. And that's the thing. You're creating experiences for people, not just for yourself, but for the people that you're talking to. And that's the best way to reach them, I find.
Right. You talked a little bit about, you drew from some of your childhood memories, classic shows and stories that we had as a kid, and you're kind of being inspired by family and current life events in your life. Mm-hmm. Were there any other influences that you draw from actively when you're kind of doing it, or do you just kind of let your brain go where it goes?
It's hard to narrow it down to one sort of thing. It's one of those things, as I started doing this, I started realizing how much of a reader and writer I've always been, and just kind of, I don't know, maybe for a few years didn't really embrace it as much. But like, I have the earliest memories of not just going to like the library at the elementary school, but my grandmother lived uptown, and one of the things I would do almost every time I was wandering around would be wander to the library, start reading this, start reading that, looking up old newspapers. And I think no matter what it is, if you want to be a musician, you got to play, you got to study the classics and so on and so forth. And that's without realizing that I was doing it my whole life. I've been constantly reading. Like when I first moved to London, Ontario, when I was in my early 20s, the first thing I did, because I didn't have any friends, is I went and got a library card. I found out some of the top 100 classics of all time. And I went through a period of the first 6 months that I lived in London, and I didn't know anybody, reading as many classics as I could. And I've always found this sort of solace in books and literature and things like that, like I said, it's just something I want to bring to other people. But I've always had these collection of stories and things in my head constantly. Like I'm always writing early on. Like I have half a dozen stories already written and ideas in a little notepad for, half a dozen more.
What are some books that, other than your own, obviously, that you would recommend people go check out or spend time reading to their kids or something? It's just some real standouts for you.
Any of the old Peter Rabbit books and things like that, those Beatrix Potter books were something that just resonated with me as a child. So as far as like a younger audience, like Goodnight Moon is something that we read all the time, and we absolutely love. The kids love it too. And it just really depends on the age. You got to find something that resonates with your children. Just because you try to read a book and they didn't like it doesn't mean they're not going to like the next book. So it's kind of finding the interests that go along with your children and finding something that inspires them. So as much as I'd like to say, I loved the Berenstain Bears as a kid, those books were great for me. When I try to read them at this point to my kids, they're not 100% interested in them, but I bet they will be later on. So there are a lot of things. It's just depending on the age group. Peter Rabbit books or the Berenstain Bears are always going to be favorites. If you're a little bit younger, the Robert Munch books, just about anything in that collection you can find is great. A lot of the early Dr. Seuss stuff, like Hop on Pop and stuff like that, are great for a younger age. And the kids just love those. They're fun little rhyming stories that they just really enjoy, and they're silly and then they're goofy. And there's counting ones that Dr. Seuss does and things like that. And there's a ton of them. Like I said, I literally have read hundreds of books to their kids, so it's kind of hard to just pick and narrow it down without spending some time really narrowing it down in my head.
No, that's fair. I think you hit on some big, at least for Maeve and I, that there was Hop on Pop, Dr. Seuss, the Foot Book, Dr. Seuss,
Green Eggs and Ham.
Goodnight Moon.
Oh, that was always for whatever reason as a kid, Green Eggs and Ham always made me hungry, and it still kind of does today. Even though Green Eggs and Ham, the way they draw them in those books, it's just not appealing at all. But for some reason, I was always hungry.
Hungry Caterpillar. That was always another
that's a
big
good
one for us. There were a couple Where the Wild Things Were.
Oh yes, that's a good one. It's a little bit out of our age range right now. We do have a copy. We have, I'd say, I'm just looking to the right of me here and to the left of me. We probably have like 100 books between upstairs and downstairs out for them now, and then bins of books in the closets that are
For later.
for a few years from now, and we slowly introduce and stuff like that.
Have you ever read any Shel Silverstein, like his kids stuff?
I don't think so.
Oh man, there's a couple different collections. It was Where the Sidewalk Ends was the first one that we got. It was a Christmas present, I believe, for Maeve.
Okay.
Each page is its own poem or short one-page story.
Okay.
And there's like an illustration that goes with it on the adverse page. Just really, really fun, really well written. Started reading it for Maeve probably when he was Miles' age.
Let me just ask Melissa. We just read, what was that book that I read the other day about the frog or something that finds the hat? The Mouse King. Yes, that was
I remember the Mouse King
book. We just got a copy of it in a collection of books that were given to us, and it's a little out of the age range, but I just was staring at it, and I was like, I got to read this. I just sat downstairs with Melissa. We read The Mouse King, and it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
I remember the Mouse King. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shel Silverstein, he's got a couple different collections. Falling Up, A Light in the Attic, Where the Sidewalk Ends, and there's a couple other everything on it. I think Maeve has them all. Like we got them all except for one, maybe. And he's have you ever read The Giving Tree?
I know of it, but I haven't read it.
That was Shel Silverstein.
Okay.
Yeah. I do appreciate taking some time this evening to sit down and have a chat and actually just catch up. We haven't caught up in a little while, so it's nice to hear about us.
Yeah, like I said, thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
What do you do when you don't want to do it anymore? Do you pound your fists on the floor or slam the door? Or do you tell your mom and dad what you want to do instead? Or do you tuck yourself right in bed and repeat in your head, it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay, not gonna let this bad mood ruin my day. It's gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay, not gonna let this bad mood ruin my day. What do you do when someone keeps telling you no, or says that was the last show, it's time to go? Just remember it's alright, it's gonna be okay, not gonna let this bad mood ruin my day. It's gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay, not gonna let this bad mood ruin my day. 5 deep breaths, jumping jacks, do a silly dance, have a laugh attack.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Interrupting cow. Interrupting cow. Oh,
It's gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay, not gonna let this bad mood ruin my day. It's gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay, not gonna let this bad mood ruin my day. It's not gonna get in my way.
Hey, this is Jeff Smith of Tooth and the Fang. You're listening to the Pagan Place podcast. Check it out.